What's up, Slingshot friends? SimpleShot here with another pro tip. Now, one of the most common questions we get from folks when they're just getting into slingshots, they ask us, what's better, through the forks or over the top? And our answer is probably not what you want to hear. It's personal preference, but we're just going to run through the differences and let you decide which one's best for you. One is not necessarily better than the other. All right, so for over the top shooting, this is what your old school natural forks look like, just your old tree fork. You can't really shoot through the forks with an old tree fork. You can, you got to modify it. But one of the advantages of shooting over the top is that if you're shooting stones or some sort of a projectile that's not perfectly spherical, you got a better chance of not getting a fork hit, generally speaking, shooting over the top versus through the forks. Now that's not hard and fast, so don't hold me to it. Another advantage of shooting over the top is some folks like a really precise aiming line. So if you're shooting flat bands or single strand tubes and you're shooting over the top, and you're using the tip of the fork as a sighting reference, as you draw back, you've got a really fine line to aim down. Some folks really like that. Now conversely, some folks like a wider aiming reference, and through the forks provides that quite nicely. Again, neither is one better than the other. Now, an advantage of through the forks over the top, this is pretty much widely held consensus. A challenge with over the top is if your bands and ammo are mismatched. What you wind up with is a system where you've got bands that put more energy than the projectile can absorb. What happens is at the end of the cycle, the projectile is released, the bands continue to travel forward and snap back into the user's hand. It can be painful and just a nuisance. Whereas shooting through the forks, as the bands pass through the prongs, and they truly are passing between the prongs, so you want to make sure that your release is clean. We generally recommend folks make sure that they shoot well over the top before they move through the forks. Do pay attention to your release. But to continue with that line of thought, is that you cannot get hand slap with through the forks. As the bands come through, they release the projectile and carry through, and all the extra friction there generally wears them out. Now, sure, you could probably shoot a very mismatched combo and still experience some hand slap with through the forks, but it's not common. So to sum it all back up, over the top or through the forks, one is not necessarily better than the other. We do recommend that beginners start with over the top until they get their release dialed. Once you get your release dialed, try them both, see what works best for you. If you'd like a wider sighting reference, through the forks might be better for you. One way is not better than the other, and neither way is wrong. So get out and shoot your slingshot, enjoy the experimentation, bring those comments. We'll see you out on the shooting range.